Chapter 41 The Third Level of Assessment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is Zhang Wuyo a genius? Of course, but he was only ranked ahead of Li Dian, ranking 6th among the 7 geniuses. However, this genius ranked 6th was the second to complete the assessment in the second level of the martial arts competition. Second only to the first-class genius Yan Pianqing. In an instant, the entire Xianxia valley shook again, and the sensation caused was even higher than that of Yan Pianping. Counterattack is always a drama that many people are happy to see. Taiqing Zhang Wuyo is hiding so much. It is said that Li Dian was once as famous as Zhang Wuyo. One fell and the other counterattacked, there is no comparison at all. It seems that the so-called young tiger of the Li family is in vain and is far inferior to the young master of the Zhang family. Because of Zhang Wuyo's sudden appearance, the fallen Li Dian was carried out to whip his body again. The Li family no longer had any shame in continuing to stay in Xianxia Valley. Li Shushan was so angry that he walked away directly. The assessment is still proceeding in an orderly manner. Han Yang, the third to complete the assessment. Jiang Ziyu was the fourth to complete the assessment. Yi Nantian is 6th, Shilei is 7th. Yan Shan is 8th. By the end of the first day, all the truly talented disciples had completed their assessments ahead of schedule. Among them, the death of Li Dian and the rise of Zhang Wuyo and Yi Nantian were undoubtedly the most shocking events of the day. When these truly talented disciples completed the assessment, the second and third days of the demon selection became boring. Finally, after the third day of the demon selection, more than 400 of the 3,000 outer sects were promoted to become inner sect disciples. As for the original 500 inner disciples, only about 20 were promoted to core disciples. Brother Han, next time something happens, please don't get me involved. Even after 2 days of recovery, Jiang Ziyu's face was still a little pale. Following Han Yang, he often fought 1-on-2 or even 1-on-3 with monsters, and was injured several times. If he hadn't had a strong foundation and used the healing medicine at all costs, he might even be seriously injured and unable to participate in the third level of the assessment. Han Yang patted Jiang Ziyu on the shoulder and said with a smile, "We, 2 brothers, you help me hide such a big secret. Of course I will remember you if there are benefits." Jiang Ziyu didn't feel flattered at all. He just wants to stay away from this madman now. The third level of the martial arts exam has nothing to do with ordinary disciples. Only the top 20 people who have been promoted to core disciples are eligible to participate in the third level of the assessment. If you can perform well in the third level assessment, you are likely to be promoted to a direct disciple and be accepted as a disciple by the powerful Qi-gathering realm master. A big reason why children from big families like Yan Pianqing and Zhang Wuyo are willing to join the Yuan sect is because of this precious opportunity, tempering the body and forging. The bones are all realms of body refining, and they are better than being called mortal warriors. As for the Qi-gathering realm, those who cultivate Qi can already swallow clouds, spit out mist, and transform into immortals, a realm, but the difference between immortality and mortals. The third level of the martial arts test will be conducted in Yuanmen. If the 20 of you can arrive at the location of Yuanmen's sect within an hour, you will be qualified to participate in the third level of assessment. That the examiner who presided over the third level assessment was none other than the old man named Feng. His words immediately caused quite a stir among the 20 geniuses. Because this assessment is different from the past, in the past third level assessment, the elders of Yuanmen gave all candidates a skill to test the candidate's comprehension. The assessments are all completed in Tianxian Valley, but this time, they actually had to enter Yuanmen before taking the third level assessment, which was obviously a special case. After being surprised, the geniuses became excited. Special cases also mean special treatment. If you can achieve good results in the third level, you will definitely get more benefits than in previous years. Could it be that the sect master and several deputy sect masters are also planning to accept disciples? Someone murmured something, which immediately made the genius's heartstrings tighten. The leader of the Yuan sect is the most powerful person in the 9 cities and a super powerful person in the late stage of Qi gathering. If you can become the disciple of the sect master, it will be like reaching the sky in one step. Even Jiang Ziyu, who was cynical and childlike, rarely became serious. The old man named Feng continued, "Your mission is to follow Junior Brother Su and reach Yuanmen within an hour. Junior Brother Su, please lead the way." As the old man named Feng spoke, Su Xiren took a step forward. The momentum that belongs to the peak of bone forging instantly makes all the genius disciples awe-inspiring. No matter what talent you have, being able to reach the peak of bone forging is enough to be awe-inspiring. What's more, many people recognized Su Xiren's identity. He started 10 years ago, and now he is at the peak of bone forging. He is an unparalleled genius in the Yuan sect after Chu Lan. If it weren't for the sudden rise of Li Xuanyu, the wine swordsman, Su Xiren would definitely be regarded as the first person in the Yuan sect in 10 years. Junior brothers and sisters, I hope you can all keep up. Su Xiren didn't have any airs, he smiled and stepped out as if strolling in a garden. However, after taking this step, his figure was already 10 feet away. In just 2 breaths, I could only see a back figure. All the geniuses stayed still because they were waiting for someone. Yan Pianqing, if she doesn't move, the other geniuses can't move. This is a tribute to the first of 2 levels. Although Yan Pianqing is only 17 years old, she is graceful, wearing a long red dress that looks like fire, a pair of bare feet. The white feet are like beautiful jade, but they are spotless when stepping on the soil. The slightly childish appearance and the charming style form a sharp contrast. And there is an almost coquettish beauty. Under the gaze of everyone, she nodded slightly and moved lightly. Her bright red robe looked like a blooming lotus or a red cloud, and she followed Su Xiren's pace leisurely. Zhang Wuyo, Han Yang, Jiang Ziyu. According to the order of the second-level assessment, 20 people came out one after another. Originally, no one realized how difficult it would be to rush to Yuanmen, but after they actually set out, they discovered that it was not that simple to qualify for the third level of assessment. Su Xiren's speed is constantly increasing. In the beginning, even with a level of bone forging, I could easily keep up with his pace, but after just 1 stick of incense, even the second level of bone forging was a little tight. After 2 sticks of incense, all the geniuses, including Zhang Wuyo, Yan Shan, and Shirlei, who had the highest level and the deepest knowledge, began to breathe quickly. Han Yang could barely keep a certain distance only by using the power of the stars. If he continues in this state, he will be exhausted after 2 cups of tea. The Yuan sect's assessment shouldn't be that difficult. Han Yang felt vaguely weird, gritted his teeth, and quickly stepped forward and came to Su Xiren's side. Su Xiren just glanced at him lightly and didn't say much, still looking like he was strolling leisurely. This breathing method. After getting close to Su Xiren, Han Yang finally found a clue. Every breath of the other party seems to have a wonderful rhythm, which can arouse the spiritual energy around his body, making his breath last long and continuous. Chapter 42 Yuanmen ascends to the heaven list. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Han Yang was reborn in his 8th life and had seen countless magical arts. As the number 1 god of war in the god realm, his vision is so broad that it cannot be compared to that of a mere warrior from a small realm. Although the breathing method used by Su Xiren is rough, it has merits. Especially for a warrior in the bone forging realm, it can be described as superb. Unexpectedly, there is a breathing method of this level in Yuanmen, breathing into nature, using nature to move spiritual energy, using spiritual energy to accumulate the body, using the body to purify the bones, and using the bones to support the energy. Su Xiren used this wonderful method to suppress the speed of the talented new students behind him with the same level of cultivation. Interesting. A playful smile appeared on Han Yang's face, and he also learned Su Xiren's breathing method and began to adjust his body. What the hell? Jiang Ziyu, who had been paying attention to Han Yang, was the first to notice something was wrong. The original 20 geniuses were all panting from exhaustion by Su Xiren, and could hardly keep up with Su Xiren's pace, but suddenly, Han Yang's steps became lighter. In fact, the relaxed and happy look on Han Yang's face at this time was not much different from Su Xiren's. No matter how evil the genius is, he can't reach this level, right? Jiang Ziyu thought and came to Su Xiren and Han Yang. He didn't have Han Yang's abnormal perception, but he could instantly understand Su Xiren's special method. But being between 2 people, they feel the same, and their breathing rate is almost the same as the 2. This breathing method. Jiang Ziyu, who was already a genius, immediately realized the wonder of this method. As expected of Yuanmen, his breathing gradually became calmer, and his steps became calmer. The third person who discovered the abnormality was Zhang Wuyo. In the second stage of the martial arts competition, Han Yang directly killed Li Jian, the Li family's cub, which greatly exceeded his expectations, so he pays great attention to Han Yang. Soon, Yan Pianqing, Yan Shan, Shi Lei, Yi Nantian, almost all the geniuses in the first echelon noticed Su Xiren's breathing method and quickly began to adjust. But being aware of it and applying it doesn't happen overnight, only the geniuses in the first echelon can quickly complete the adjustment. The rest of the people behind are not as lucky as them. Even if there is a difference in the breathing method, it is impossible to adjust it immediately. In the end, when the distance between the two parties was widened, nothing could be done. After more than half an hour, Su Xiren slowly stopped. There were only 7 people in the first echelon following him. "You guys are good." Su Xiren gave them a rare compliment, then stood with his hands behind his back and said no more. Jiang Ziyu, Shi Lei and others looked curiously at the simple building courtyard in front of them hidden in the majestic mountains and forests. There is the mountain gate of Yuanmen, but Han Yang's eyes were focused on the plaque of an archway next to the mountain path. 2 big characters on the iron painting and silver hook, Yuanmen. The moment his eyes focused on these 2 words, he felt a surge of sword intent rushing toward his face. This sword intention is not the prototype of the martial arts artistic conception of Shimen Sheng or Ing Sha, but the artistic conception power of at least a Shang or above Fizhang. The gentle sound of sword sounded in Han Yang's ears. It seemed like there was a sword across the sky, trying to split the heaven and the earth. This sword is like flowing clouds and flowing water, with a hearty and elegant feeling that brings joy to the world. The person who left behind this sword spirit must be a master with a free and easy mind and an aloofness. There was the Jiu sword immortal in the front, and the person with the inscription on the Yuanmen plaque behind him made Han Yang have some expectations for the Yuanmen. Maybe the Yuanmen could dominate the 9 cities, and it also had its own extraordinary qualities. An hour later, after all, only 7 of them appeared in front of the plaque. This means that only 7 people are qualified to participate in the 3rd level of martial arts assessment. Su Xiren, who had been silent all this time, spoke again at this moment. This 3rd level of assessment is also very simple. There are 99 steps in front of the mountain gate. As long as you can climb the 99 steps and climb to the disembarkation platform, you can be promoted to the direct successor. You will definitely have the power to gather energy. I will accept you as my disciple. Except for Han Yang, the other 6 people all looked surprised. Apparently he has heard of these 99 steps, but I didn't expect that the 3rd level of the martial arts competition would have such an assessment content. Su Xiren smiled and said, "I guess you have also heard about my Yuan sect's difficulty in climbing to the heavenly level, so I won't say more. This is not only a test for you, but also a rare opportunity. I hope you can cherish it." Immediately, he pointed to the side and said, "Did you see the name on the archway?" Everyone looked in the direction of his finger and saw 100 names engraved on the mountain gate archway more than 10 feet away. These 100 people are the 100 most powerful people who have ever stepped onto the heavenly stairs and walked onto the stage to relieve troops. I hope you can also be on the list. I don't know if it was an illusion, but there was a bit of playfulness in Su Xiren's smile. However, everyone, including Han Yang, has been attracted by the list above the archway. Are these 100 people the top talents chosen by Yuanmen for thousands of years? If you find anyone at random, they are all big names who were once famous. Han Yang soon discovered a familiar name on it, Li Xuanyu, the wine and sword immortal, ranked 5th on the heavenly ranking. 5th. This surprised Han Yang very much. Others may think that Li Xuanyu was trapped at the peak of bone forging, unable to break through, and ranked 5th, which is normal, but Han Yang, who had witnessed Li Xuanyu's actions, knew very well that Li Xuanyu, she was deliberately hiding her cultivation. Her true state is only 1 step away from the late stage of qi gathering and the state of returning to nature, at the age of 19. In the middle stage of qi gathering, he was actually only ranked 5th. What kind of geniuses are the first 4? Oh my god, Elder Su is only ranked 53rd. When Jiang Ziyu discovered Su Xiren's name, she was so shocked that she opened her mouth wide and said half a sentence, then immediately closed it again. Zhang Wuyo and others looked for the former geniuses of their family to see if they were on the list, but everyone came back disappointed. the 5 geniuses actually failed to find the name of a member of their clan on the list. This surprised the 5 people. They come from a wealthy family, and there are many geniuses in their family. They have produced many first-class geniuses, however, none of these geniuses made the list. Now they finally knew why Su Xiren laughed so jokingly when he said the names on the list. Climb to the top of the list. To get on the list is as difficult as reaching the sky. Look! Crazy Tiger Li Ying. Just when several people sighed, Zhang Wuyo's voice suddenly came to Han Yang's ears. 85 on the heaven ranking. Sharp. Han Yang also saw Li Ying's name amid the whispers of several people on the side. This guy who wants to take Xianxia as his concubine is actually on the list of people who have ascended to heaven. Although his ranking is not as good as that of Su Xiren, he still dominates the crowd, far surpassing all the senior geniuses and the big families present. Zhang Wuyo looked at Han Yang. He wanted to see what Han Yang would look like when he found out that the person who wanted to steal his fiancée was so talented, frightened, disturbed, shaking all over. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. Han Yang beside him didn't look strange at all, but a smile appeared on his face. Is this interesting? It would be boring if it were just cats and dogs that could be trampled to death with just one kick. Only by trampling to death the kind of geniuses who have left their names on the heavenly list will give me a little more interest. Han Yang's indifferent smile made Zhang Wuyo feel a chill in his heart. This guy is really crazy. No wonder he would unscrupulously kill Li Dian, the genius cub of the Li family. Chapter 43, Forging Bones on the Way to Heaven. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yan Pianqing. The first thing Su Xiren called was Yan Pianqing's name. The first of 2 levels is both an honor and a responsibility. At this time, Yan Pianqing was naturally the first to step onto the stone steps. Yan Pianqing didn't hesitate at all. After smiling sweetly, she stepped out with her jade feet like lotus. Han Yang. What everyone didn't expect was that the second name Su Xiren shouted was not Zhang Wuyo, who performed well in the second level, but Han Yang. This proves that in Su Xiren's mind, Han Yang is second among everyone. Zhang Wuyo opened a folding fan and fanned it gently. Although he snorted slightly, there was no expression on his face. Jiang Ziyu showed that this was indeed the case. On the contrary, Shirlei, Yan Shan, and Yunantian were slightly dissatisfied. In their view, Han Yang was 18 years old and only at the second level of bone forging, so he was not qualified to be ranked second. Han Yang ignored the looks of those people and walked up the steps calmly. The moment he stepped onto the steps, he immediately clearly felt a surge of coercion, as if coming from heaven and earth, solidifying his body, making it difficult for him to move. And the steps that led directly to the mountain gate along the archway were also covered with a light layer of fog. Even Yan Pianqing, who stepped onto the stone steps just one step ahead of him, was nowhere to be seen, as if she had gone to another world. This is definitely not the handiwork of Yuanmen. Even a warrior in the Qi-gathering realm would have difficulty constructing such a magical array. Han Yang immediately made a judgment. The stone step formation he is currently stepping into must be at least a formation master at the Yuan Dan level or above to be qualified to construct it. Yuanmen seems not as simple as it appears. Interesting, just look at this formation. What other mysteries are there? Retracting his mind, Han Yang took the second step. As we climbed to the second step, the mist became thicker and thicker. There was a stream of heat on the stone steps, following his footsteps, pouring into his limbs and bones, and then toward his arms, rushing toward his 2 tempered bones. Han Yang could feel that this heat flow seemed to be tempering the 2 bones that had completed the bone forging process. The bones that could not be further tempered even by the power of the stars actually became more condensed and stronger. What kind of formation master is this? It is clear that only a formation master can do it. Han Yang didn't expect that a small force with only 9 cities would actually have such a magical array at the mountain gate. Second bone forging. The function of the stone steps to the sky is actually a secondary bone forging. This is something Han Yang has never encountered in his previous 8 rebirths. He stood still for a while, until the 2 bones on his arm could no longer be tempered, and then he stepped forward and stepped onto the 3rd step. At this time, Su Xiren was not the only one in front of the stone archway in front of the mountain gate. 10 handsome or charming young men and women stood beside Su Xiren, looking curiously at the 7 people on the stone steps. Guess how many of them can step onto the disarmament stage? Junior brother Huang, why are you belittling yourself so much? If they are really capable of stepping onto the stage to relieve troops, wouldn't it mean that we seniors are very incompetent? Senior sister Lu, don't underestimate anyone. I heard that 2 first-class geniuses emerged from this martial arts competition. Uncle Su, do you think they have any hope of stepping onto the platform to relieve troops? Su Xiren looked at these 10 little guys with a look of helplessness. These 10 people are now the top 10 direct disciples of the Yuan sect, the true pride of heaven. In the past, it was either a retreat to strengthen the bones or practice martial arts. It was difficult to find one. Unexpectedly, because of the martial arts competition today, everyone was here. In the Yuan sect, there is a watershed between the middle stage of bone forging and the late stage of bone forging. In the middle stage of bone forging, like the top 10 direct disciples, they are still at the disciple level. By the time he reached the advanced stage of bone forging, Su Xiren was already at the level of senior teacher and uncle. Seniority in Yuanmen only depends on realm, not age. If the qualifications are not enough and the person is 70 or 80 years old, he may still call the teenage boy master uncle. Now, above the stone archway, on the left side of the climbing heavenly list, lines of writing are displayed. The first place, Yan Pianying, ordinary bone forging, 8th level. Second place, Zhang Wuyo, ordinary bone forging, 7th level. Third place, Yi Nantian, ordinary bone forging, 7th level. Fourth place, Jiang Ziyu, ordinary bone forging, 6th level. Fifth place, Yan Shan, ordinary bone forging, 5th level. Sixth place, Shi Lei, ordinary bone forging, 5th level. The 7th place, Han Yang, ordinary bone forging, 3rd level. Yan Pianqing is one of the 2 first-level geniuses this time, right? It's really amazing. In just 1 stick of incense, she stepped onto the 8th level. Who is this Zhang Wuyo? Isn't it said that there are 2 first-class geniuses, and the other one is named Han Yang? Why did he step onto the 3rd level? What's going on? The top 10 direct disciples looked suspiciously at the message that appeared on the side of the stone archway, with confusion on their faces. Su Xiren's brows also frowned slightly. It shouldn't be. It stands to reason that Han Yang can advance from the body-tempering realm to the 2nd level of bone forging in 1 month, and his qualifications should be higher than Yan Pianping's, and he is suspected to be a super genius at the heaven and earth level. But now, a cup of tea has passed, and he is actually in the last place, having only stepped onto the 3rd level. Could it be that I had misjudged the person? More and more people gathered in front of the mountain gate. In the beginning, it was just the top 10 direct disciples. Later, the core disciples, inner disciples, outer disciples, and even many elders were alarmed. Before entering the mountain gate, I climbed the heavenly steps, which was the first time in history. The previous 3rd level assessment content was not like this. This time, Han Yang, who was suspected to be a heaven-level genius, appeared. The sect then adjusted the assessment content to see if Han Yang really had such a talent. After Li Xuanyu, the wine and sword immortal, this was another suspected superclass person, and everyone in the sect was alarmed. If Han Yang's talent is as speculated, then Yuanmen may rise due to this person. As time went by, Yan Pianying, who was ranked first, gradually slowed down, ascending to the heaven level. The 11th level is a limit. At this time, Yan Pianying was stepping on the 11th step. Taking another step forward is a new realm. The first-class genius did not disappoint. After staying for half an hour, Yan Pianpian stepped onto the 12th step. It was at this moment that the writing on the stone archway changed. First place, Yan Pianying, Jade Bone, 12th level. Ordinary warrior's bone forging is just ordinary bone forging. No matter how many elixirs they take, they can't continue to improve. Only by using special formations like ascending to the sky level can the level of bone forging be further improved. On top of the ordinary forged bones, there are jade bones. In the realm of jade bones, the bones are exquisite and clear, just like beautiful jade. The pure white jade bones will have a translucent and mysterious feeling. In the jade bone realm, both the speed of absorbing spiritual energy and combat effectiveness are twice as powerful as ordinary bone forging. In other words, even without any martial arts or special energy, one jade bone can still fight against two ordinary forged bones. Don't underestimate this change. It's just the first level of bone forging and the second level of bone forging. There is no significant difference. When you reach the 7th level of forged bones with more than 64 forged bones, it will be a world of difference. This is the opportunity Su Xiren mentioned before. Climbing to the heavenly level and forging jade bones will bring about earth-shaking changes to everyone's background. If you can keep climbing and reach the golden bone above the jade bone, you will be completely transformed, and you will truly reach the sky in one step. Chapter 44 Borrowing Strength to Enter the Third Level. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. The major families in the 9 cities only roughly knew about the existence of the heavenly climb, but they did not understand the secret of the heavenly climb at all. This is one of the biggest secrets of Yuanmen. Anyone who leaks secrets will be severely punished according to the sect's rules. Even the members of the major families in the 9 cities within the Yuan sect would not dare to reveal such secrets. Therefore, even Yan Pianqing and others only knew the function of the heavenly steps. After they stepped on the stone steps. But they still ignored it and only wanted to be quick. In their opinion, the ultimate goal was to climb the heavenly steps and enter the disarmament platform as soon as possible. Only Han Yang, still in the last place, he used the roll of each level to the limit. Soon, the other 6 people all climbed to the 12th level and completed the transformation from ordinary forged bones to jade bones. He is still stuck on the 7th level, because he suddenly discovered a problem. Ascension to heaven is the top formation for tempering bones, but I have only forged 2 bones. If I continue like this, I will be at a disadvantage. This formation provides energy and provides few opportunities for bone tempering. It is very likely that after setting foot on the disarmament platform this time, there will be no chance of setting foot on the heavenly level in the future. Only 2 bones were converted, which was undoubtedly a huge disadvantage. Heaven and God will take the blame. Since the Yuanmen is so generous, I won't be polite. Han Yang took out a 3rd-level monster inner elixir and swallowed it in one gulp. If it were any other time, without the aid of elixirs, directly using these 3rd-level monster inner elixirs would not be enough to complete the attack on the acupoints. But at this time, the steps to the sky under his feet were continuously providing energy, which could just make up for the lack of elixir. Combined with the level 3 monster inner elixir, you will definitely get twice the result with half the effort. Boom! The moment the demonic beast's inner elixir was swallowed, it was transformed into the power of stars by Han Yang using the 9 turns of stars technique. The first acupoint of the Ren meridian, the Huiyin acupoint, has the effect of awakening the mind and resuscitating the mind, so it is regarded as the first acupoint of the 9 turns of stars Ju. The second point of the Ren meridian, the Yutang point, is located in the hull. The jade finger refers to the lungs and is the key point for breathing. Opening this point for the second time can increase the speed of absorbing spiritual energy. Han Yang's ability to master Su Xiren's breathing method so quickly is due to the opening of the Yutang point. The third point of the Ren meridian is the Zigong point. When the qi from Yutang ascends, it can reach the Z palace, 1 piece, 2, 3 pieces. Han Yang kept swallowing the 3rd-level monster inner elixir. Sure enough, as he expected, every time a new acupoint is opened, the difficulty increases almost 10 times. When the Huiyin point was opened, it only took 1 3rd-level demonic beast inner elixir and 3 elixirs to successfully open it. This time, I swallowed 4 demonic beast inner elixirs in succession at the Purple Palace acupoint, and used the natural energy of heaven and earth to reach the heavenly level. After many impacts, I still couldn't open it up. If the 7th level doesn't work, then the 8th level. Han Yang stepped forward and stepped onto the 8th level. The natural energy of heaven and earth has indeed increased several times again. The energy that should have been used to forge bones was instead used by Han Yang for enlightenment. The energy of heaven and earth above the heavenly steps was absorbed by Han Yang like a whale swallowing it. Even the mist around Han Yang's body seemed to become lighter. As time went by, everyone's attention in front of the mountain gate had been focused on Yan Pianqing and others, and Han Yang had been ignored. Level 21. One more step forward, it's level 22, and there's hope for the golden bone. This girl may have a chance to be on the list and reach the sky in one step. Yinan is running out of energy. It's no wonder that at the first level, Yinan stopped at 13 steps of the 1,000-leaf divine sword, and his qualifications were more than a step behind Yan Pianqing and others. On the other hand, this Zhang Wuyo, who is obviously not showing off, actually stepped onto the 20 steps, except for Han Yang, the other 6 people have all completed the transformation into jade bones, and Yan Pian is only 1 step away from the golden bones. In front of everyone, Su Xiren frowned and looked quite confused. Strange, what's going on with Han Yang? Could it be that he can't even complete the jade bone tempering, that he was not optimistic about Han Yang's future because Han Yang's father-in-law, Qin Yu, had offended too many enemies? He valued Han Yang's qualifications very highly, but now, not to mention compared with the current 6 geniuses, even compared with the core disciples who have stepped onto the heavenly level in the past, they are still far behind. Until now, Han Yang has not been able to temper his jade bones, which is really unsatisfactory. Above 20 steps, 1 step at a time, 2 full hours passed, and the setting sun reflected the sunset. Yan Pianqing still stopped at the 22nd level, unable to complete the transformation from jade bones to gold bones. Only then did the onlookers' eyes leisurely pay attention to Han Yang, who was the last one. 11th level, if he takes 1 further step, he can complete the jade bone transformation, but this speed is far inferior to many core disciples. It is completely inconsistent with the reputation of being a suspected super genius. Go back and inform Mr. Tiger, just say that Han Yang is nothing more than that. In the crowd, someone quietly left and passed Han Yang's information to Li Ying, who was known as the Crazy Tiger, but Han Yang didn't care about other people's eyes, still enjoying the vibration of the power of the stars rushing into his acupoints. He has swallowed 9 third-level demonic beast inner elixirs one after another, charged the acupoint 3 times, and failed 3 times, but, never be discouraged. I only have the last demonic beast inner elixir left. I don't believe it. I, Han Yang, am trying to attack only the 3rd acupuncture point and it will fail. He gritted his teeth and swallowed the last 3rd-level demonic beast inner elixir. Boom. The inner elixir turned into the power of the stars, enveloping the natural power of heaven and earth that ascended to the heavenly level, and began to impact the acupuncture points for the 4th time. On the boundary membrane of the purple palace point, there is a layer of lavender halo, which constantly resists the impact of the power of the stars. Han Yang kept attacking with tenacity, 4 times. 5 times. 6 times. Finally, with a roar, the boundary membrane opened, the aperture opened, and the power of the silver stars covered it with a layer of light purple. Immediately afterwards, the enlightenment power of the 9 turns of stars technique was used to nourish the bones. The 3rd bone of the right hand, the humerus, is forged into shape. The 1st bone in the left hand, the radius, was forged into shape. At this point, Han Yang has achieved the 3rd level of awakening, the 4th level of bone forging, and has entered the 3rd level of bone forging. You gave me such a gift before you entered the sect. It seems that there is nothing wrong with coming to Yuanmen. The 3rd level of bone forging was completed, and Han Yang felt happy. He continued to stay at the 12th level for a while, and after condensing the newly forged humerus and radius to the limit, he no longer lingered on, and directly stepped onto the 12th level, completing the ordinary bone forging to jade bone. Transformations between bones, the jade-colored light flashes, and the jade bones are condensed. Without the hindrance of awakening, Han Yang's speed immediately increased several times. Level 13. Level 15. 18th level. In less than a cup of tea, he stepped onto the 20th step, in front of the mountain gate. Those who watched the 7 geniuses climbing the heavenly steps were stunned by the names that kept flashing. The other 6 disciples, such as Shirlei, Yan Shan, Yinan and others, had already stopped at the 20th level and could not move a step for more than 2 hours, but Han Yang kept climbing. Soon, they were tied with Shirlei, Yan Shan and Yinan. His abnormal speed also caused a huge sensation. What's going on with Han Yang? He was crawling at a crawl just now, but now he's making rapid progress. It's much faster than Yan Pianqing. The restrictions on the stairs to the sky are very powerful. Can you climb it so fast? Will there be no problems? This is somewhat worthy of his reputation as a second-level super genius in heaven and earth. However, if it is just this, it is not enough. Indeed not enough, because, at the same time that Han Yang stepped onto the 21st level, Yan Pianying also took a crucial step, first place, Yan Pianying, Golden Bone, 23rd level. The list hanging on the mountain gate lit up for a while, and the words Yan Pian Ping appeared in the last position, replacing the original name, on the list, climbed to the heaven ranking, 99. Chapter 45. Which one is Han Yang? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Golden Bones. It is not uncommon for first-grade geniuses to obtain golden bones above the heavenly level. Every few years, there will always be one or two, but those who can reach the top of the list are very rare. It took 1,000 years for the Yuanmen to be established, but only 100 people were admitted to the heavenly ranking. Anyone who can reach the top of the list is an incredible genius. Yan Pianying directly squeezed out the last two, ranking 99, which means that at least in the bone forging of the heaven level, her qualifications are among the top 100 in 1,000 years. This caused quite a stir in front of the mountain gate. It seems that I'm going to have more junior sisters. Ranked 99 on the heaven ranking, TSK, in less than 2 years, maybe we will all be called Master Uncle. With Yan Piantiao's talent in forging bones, at least there won't be any obstacles until Qi is gathered. He is truly a genius. The top 10 direct disciples looked at Yan Pianying's name with emotion, even though they had long predicted that Yan Pianying would become a golden bone, but being on the list was beyond their expectations. She only ranked 99th in the first bone forging test in the 3 trials to ascend to the sky. If she does not perform well in the other 2 trials, it is not impossible for her to fall down from the ranking. There are also people who are not optimistic about Yan Pianqing's qualifications, but these people's views are obviously ignored, simply relying on the fact that there is no obstacle to forging bones and there are no bottlenecks in the bone forging realm. Yan Pianying can stand out from the crowd. The Yuanmen has been established for thousands of years and has countless geniuses, but how many people can truly achieve the power of gathering energy? Geniuses like Li Xuanyu, known as the immortal of drinking and swordsmanship, don't they also collapse in front of gathering energy? Therefore, being able to forge bones without any hindrance and achieve the pinnacle of bone forging is already a level that many people cannot achieve throughout their lives. Yan Pianqing was already walking ahead of the 90% of Yuanmen warriors. At this time, no one noticed that Han Yang, who had come from behind, had already stepped onto the 22nd step, alongside Zhang Guiyou and Jiang Ziyu. At this time, Han Yang was enjoying the refreshing feeling brought by forging his bones. The 4 bones have completed the transformation of the jade bone and have reached the perfection of the jade bone. One more step forward and you can reach the golden bone. It's strange. I've obviously reached perfection, so why can't I step onto the 23rd level? After a cup of tea, Han Yang noticed something strange in his body. The 4 bones have been tempered, but they are unable to transform into golden bones. The natural energy of heaven and earth that has been absorbed into the jade bones has even begun to slowly drain away. After a moment, Han Yang woke up thoughtfully. Maybe this is the limit of my body. Everyone has different talents and qualifications. Before Han Yang's reborn soul awakened and he practiced the 9-turn star art, his talent in this life could only be called average. At the age of 18, he stopped at the 9th level of body tempering, unable to break through the bone forging. It was only after practicing the 9-turn star technique and tempering the body with the power of the stars that his talent was improved and he reached the level of a second-grade genius. But the limit of the body's talent is only this, and it is not qualified to complete the tempering of golden bones. If I don't know about the existence of jade bones, that's fine. Now that I know, how can I give up? It seems, that's all I can do. With a thought, Han Yang peeled off the power of the stars from his bones. After losing the power of the stars, the 4 jade bones instantly became hungry and thirsty, frantically absorbing the natural energy of heaven and earth. Han Yang could even hear the sizzling sound of the energy of heaven and earth pouring into the jade bones. The pure white jade bones were finally covered with a layer of gold, and Han Yang's feet slowly lifted up. Boom! Han Yang, step onto the 23rd level. Second place, Han Yang, golden bone, 23rd level. Climb to the top of the list. number 100. This kid. A smile appeared on Su Xiren's face. He was indeed a suspected super genius, and he did not disappoint. The person who had previously sent someone to report the message to Crazy Tiger Liang suddenly changed his expression. Han Yang, who was originally at the bottom of the crane, unexpectedly came from behind and completed the golden bone tempering, and even climbed onto the heavenly ranking, even if he is only in last place. That is still an incredible talent. Damn it. Someone, go and notify Mr. Tiger immediately. Previously, most of the people who watched the 7 geniuses climb the heavenly steps were disciples. When 2 people appeared on the climbing list, they immediately caused a huge sensation, and many elders in green shirts came from the mountain. Chirp! A high-pitched bird song sounded from the sky. There was a huge goshawk with a wingspan of 10 feet, circling back and forth in the air. Above the goshawk, an old red-haired man stood with his hands behind his back, looking majestic. It's Deputy Sect Master Feng. Meet Deputy Sect Master Feng. Upon seeing the visitor, all the elders and disciples in front of the mountain gate bowed their hands in salute. This person is one of the 4 Deputy Sect Masters of the Yuan sect. He has great power in gathering energy and is the master of the Spear Mountain. The most famous achievement of Deputy Sect Master Feng was when he reached the peak of bone forging and was hunted by a powerful Qi gatherer for 7 days and 7 nights without dying. Finally, he gathered Qi overnight and killed the pursuer. Even within the Yuan sect, he is one of the top experts. Which one is Han Yang? Feng Buping stood on top of the goshawk, looking down, his eyes shining with light. Ordinary disciples, even elders, did not dare to look directly into his eyes. Only Su Xiren resisted the pressure and stepped forward to talk. Uncle, this is all the grudges of the previous generation. Why should you be like this? Su Xiren knew Feng Buping's temperament very well. He asked Han Yang's name as soon as he arrived, not because he was interested in Han Yang's talent, but because Feng Buping was beaten several times by Han Yang's father-in-law Qin Yu in the past. He was looking for Han Yang, fearing that he was here for revenge. Feng Buping said coldly, Su boy, are you teaching me how to do things? Don't think that with your master protecting me, I won't dare to beat you. Su Xiren smiled bitterly. How could you not dare? Within the sect, there are countless direct disciples who have been punished under the pretext of being unfair. Feng Buping was petty and had a bad temper. He often didn't even give face to those who were powerful in gathering energy, let alone a peak bone-forging warrior like himself. Deputy Sect Master Qi, the one who has stepped onto the 23rd level now is Han Yang. The man who had previously arranged for someone to tip off Crazy Tiger Liang opened his mouth to Feng Buping with a smile on his face. The feud between Han Yang and the Li family is almost endless. It would be great if a powerful deputy sect leader came forward to deal with Han Yang. 23rd level. Feng Buping glanced at the name on the stone archway and said, number 100 on the heavenly list. Dead Fish's son-in-law actually has such a talent, haha. Okay, very good. His smile was like that of a vulture, and the disciples around him felt a chill that went straight from the soles of their feet to the Tianling cap. This guy named Han Yang is probably going to be unlucky. The disciples and elders who were familiar with Feng Buping's character all had this idea in their minds at the same time. Ha! Look at the names on the archway. Zhang Wuyo and Jiang Ziyu actually stepped onto the 23rd level and transformed into golden bones. At this moment, a cry of surprise attracted the attention of many people. In a martial arts competition, 2 golden bones appeared. It was already a great year for the martial arts competition and could be recorded in the history of Yuanmen. Now, 2 people appear again, embarking on the road of transforming the golden bones. 4 people. In this martial arts competition, 4 talented people with golden bones appeared. If I remember correctly, the last time such a grand event was 100 years ago was in Li Yuan's generation, right? Li Yuan's generation is the best in the sect in gathering qi. Yan Pianying, Han Yang, Zhang Wuyo, and Jiang Ziyu, are they all talented at gathering qi? Chapter 46 I am God on the battlefield. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. 130 years ago, the golden year of martial arts competition. That year, 3 geniuses were born at the same time. Li Yuan, number 32 on the heavenly ranking. Mu Kanglan, 79 on the heavenly ranking. Duhun, 96 on the heavenly ranking. A 3-day list of a generation, prominent for a while, and these 3 people all succeeded in gathering qi and became powerful in gathering qi. In the 1,000-year history of Yuanmen, that year can be said to be the most glorious year. At this time, Yan Pianying, Han Yang, Zhang Wuyo, and Jiang Ziyu were all chosen at the moment, which made the elders present involuntarily think of the golden year. If 4 top geniuses can be born in one generation, then the Yuanmen will surely usher in a revival. Pity. After a while, someone sighed. It turned out that although Zhang Wuyo and Jiang Ziyu stepped onto the 23rd level and transformed their golden bones, the time delay was too long and they failed to be listed on the heavenly ranking. This made the elders present slightly disappointed. Now that Yuanmen is declining day by day, they all hope to see the former glory reappear in their lifetime. Unfortunately, hope is just hope after all. You don't have to be like this. Have you forgotten Mu Kanglin back then? That at this time, Su Xiren, who had always been serious about his words, suddenly had a smile on his lips. Mu Kanglin. The elders were startled for a moment, then suddenly realized. Mu Kanglin, although the Golden Bone trial was not on the list, it was the artistic conception that made him a blockbuster. Yes, the same was true for Chu Lan 20 years ago. The Golden Bone trial was 99, and the artistic concept trial was 35. Still have a chance, that the restless hearts of the elders calm down. Martial arts talent is reflected in all aspects of martial arts training. Some people are talented at forging bones, like Li Yuan 100 years ago, like Li Xuanyu 4 years ago. This kind of person can often achieve achievements that shine in ancient and modern times in the Golden Bone trial of the 3 heavenly trials, but in other aspects, they are unsatisfactory. There are also people who are outstanding in their understanding of artistic conception, such as Mu Kanglin 100 years ago. As for the climbing to heaven ranking, what you can see is the overall ranking of the 3 climbing to heaven trials. Now, it's just the beginning. Yan Pianying was still leading the way. When Han Yang stepped onto the 32nd step, she was already 1 step ahead. She stepped onto the 34th step and entered the test of artistic conception. Chang. The moment Yan Pianping stepped onto the stairs, a sonorous phoenix cry sounded on the stairs to the sky. Around her body, there was a long flame whip, spreading its wings like a phoenix, reflecting a brilliant light. Oh! Does this little girl use a whip? She is similar to Master Kanglin, but I don't know how talented she is in terms of artistic conception. Clang clang phoenix cry. If you can cause the fire phoenix to harmonize, your talent shouldn't be too bad. Everyone looked at Yan Pianying with a little more expectation. The Golden Bone trial, 99 on the heavenly ranking, and the artistic conception test. What will happen? At this time, Han Yang, who was above the 33rd level of the heavenly order, was in a dilemma. I can feel that there should be other realms above the Golden Bone. Unfortunately, due to the limited talent, it is no longer possible to further strengthen the bones. It is a pity, such a pity. The natural energy of heaven and earth on the stairs to the sky is so abundant that it is unimaginable, far better than the treasures of genius and earth. If it were not for the limitation of qualifications and the inability to further forge the bones, Han Yang would even be sure to cooperate with the demonic beast's inner elixir to open another acupoint. Once you miss this opportunity, you don't know when you will meet again. The foundation of Yuanmen is really beyond imagination. This type of top-notch, completely reborn formation has never been encountered even in the God realm in the past. This small world also has its own extraordinary features. After sighing in his heart, Han Yang stepped forward with some reluctance and stepped onto the 34th step. Boom. The moment Han Yang stood firm, his eyes suddenly changed. The previous endless mist dissipated instantly and was replaced by a desolate ancient battlefield. The battlefield was filled with gunpowder smoke, corpses lay everywhere, and broken swords and broken blades could be seen everywhere. Every corpse here had unimaginable power during its lifetime. Even after dying in battle, he still retained some of the terrifying power he had during his lifetime, which is intimidating. Cut. Just after Han Yang set foot on the ancient battlefield, a voice sounded from the horizon. This sound sounded like one person roaring, or like thousands of people roaring. Following the sound, a blade of light streaked down from the void, slashing towards Han Yang with cruel and violent killing intent. this sword seemed to be able to split the heaven and the earth. Han Yang subconsciously touched his waist, but did not touch the Tian-Ke sword. Perhaps what entered here was just his own thoughts. There is no knife in my hand, if that's the case, then. He did not panic, and stretched his right hand forward. The martial arts artistic conception resonated with the lost heroes in the ancient battlefield. Here comes the knife. The dead ancient battlefield was activated by Han Yang's boiling sword intent at this moment. In the wasteland, among the countless corpses, the light of a knife lit up, the overwhelming sword light, carrying the unyielding will of the heroic spirits, gathered in Han Yang's hands like an audience with an emperor. At this moment, Han Yang seemed to be able to control all the lost heroes on the ancient battlefield. Behind him, there was a huge shadow like a god of war that gathered together and took shape. In his hand was a rusty bronze sword. There was a time when Han Yang was the god of war in the divine world. The battlefield is his home field. Among thousands of troops, Han Yang is the god of the battlefield. With one strike of your sword, you can open heaven and earth. With one strike of my sword, I can end life and death. One move can end life and death, and it explodes from his hands. The withered sword intent suddenly collided with the sword light coming from the sky, beyond the heavenly steps. Han Yang. He has also stepped onto the 34th level. I wonder what will happen to his talent and artistic conception. At this moment, Han Yang is no longer the son-in-law of the Chen family in the small Luoqing city, but is one of the top 100 in the heaven ranking, a top talent of the Yuan sect. His every move will attract the attention of many people. On the goshawk's back, Feng Buping's flaming red hair fluttered in the wind like flames. His eyes were like a vulture, staring at Han Yang's back. A few years ago, Qin Yu, armed with Zongheng sword intent, cut off his life spear with one sword, causing him to suffer a miserable defeat. To this day, when I wake up from my midnight dream, the opponent's overbearing sword power can still be a nightmare. He also wanted to see what Qin Yu's son-in-law would do with his talent in martial arts. Among the group of people, Su Ziren was the one with the most peaceful mind, because, long ago, he learned about Han Yang's achievements in martial arts from Han Yang's information. That day in Luo City, Han Yang used the second level of bone forging and his dazzling sword intent to defeat Xianxia, who was born in Yuanmen and had an extraordinary martial arts conception. This test of artistic conception was not difficult for Han Yang at all. What he is looking forward to now is just what kind of vision Han Yang can finally cause and what kind of ranking he can achieve. It's difficult to raise a real dragon in shallow water. Han Yang is in Luo City, and without the guidance of a famous teacher, his martial arts will inevitably be different. Crazy Tiger Li Ying's men felt ridiculed in their hearts, not caring about Han Yang's performance, feeling that Han Yang would definitely fail at this level, but at this moment, vast silence. Bloody. A breath that seemed to come from ancient times fell from the sky. Red-brown soil covered the stairs to the sky, and the sky was filled with smoke. Countless limbs and arms were broken, lying in a pool of blood. The battlefield of ancient gods and demons seems to have turned around and descended into the world. Chapter 47. Watch Han Yang wield a sword and hundreds of people break through the situation. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. The group of bone-forging realm disciples outside the mountain gate were all shocked by the artistic conception of the ancient battlefield, and their whole bodies trembled. Among them, the unbearable ones knelt down on the ground, wailing like soldiers who were defeated and mourning. Even a peak bone-forging expert like Su Ziren felt awe-inspiring in his heart. The artistic conception reaches the sky. The ancient battlefield has arrived. This Han Yang, this Han Yang. He chanted Han Yang's name repeatedly, but couldn't say any words that could be called evaluation, because Han Yang's performance in martial arts artistic conception has left him unable to evaluate. Not to mention him, even geniuses like Chu Lan and the Wine and Sword Immortal were not as good as Han Yang in terms of artistic conception when they stepped onto the steps to heaven. Click. Feng Buping's finger bones were pinched so hard that they almost broke. A pair of eyes almost protrude from the sockets. As the deputy sect leader of the Yuan sect, he has great power in gathering energy, so he naturally knows what it means when the artistic conception triggers the arrival of the ancient battlefield. This Han Yang actually resonated with the ancient battle blood above the heavenly level. This kind of talent is as outstanding as ever. Han Yang, peak sword intent, level 34, that on the list, climb the heavenly list, be the leader, be the first. Han Yang, along with the artistic conception of martial arts, reached the first position on the heavenly ranking. Many disciples in front of the mountain gate could no longer care about being surprised, because they were still suppressed by the terrifying artistic conception pouring out of the ancient battlefield, unable to raise their heads, just when they thought this was Han Yang's limit. Suddenly, another change occurred. A tall shadow appeared behind Han Yang. He was dressed in tattered armor and looked as withered as a corpse. He was holding a bronze sword and swung it towards the sky. Cut. The terrifying sword intent was like substance, bursting out from the bronze sword in the hands of the tall shadow. Is the artistic conception realized? Following the exclamations of Feng Buping and Su Xiren, the terrifying sword intent slashed towards the Yuanmen Inca Peak opposite the climbing heaven stairs. Boom, rumble. The top of Inca Peak, which was over 100 feet high, was cut off by the ancient heroic spirit with a single blow. Rocks flew everywhere and peaks collapsed. Of course, this is not Han Yang's original power, but Han Yang, who inspired the ancient battle blood above the heavenly level. The terrifying sword intent trembled in everyone's souls. After today, everyone who saw this scene in front of the mountain gate will not be able to forget this sword that destroyed the heaven and earth, and cut off life and death. This knife is enough to be engraved in their lives. Buzz. After the sword intent passed, Han Yang's figure flashed and appeared at the 67th step of the heavenly step. The 33rd level of the artistic conception trial was stepped on by Han Yang. The artistic conception test of ascending to the heaven level is no longer qualified to test Han Yang. In front of the mountain gate, there was dead silence. All Yuanmen disciples looked at the seemingly absurd scene with dumbfounded eyes. Yuanmen has been established for thousands of years, and nothing like this has ever happened since records began. Even a genius like Li Xuanyu, a master of wine and swordsman, or Ren Pingsheng, who was ranked number 1 in the world of monsters, could not reach the level of Han Yang back then. Han Yang, Yuanmen has a history of thousands of years and is the first person in martial arts artistic conception. Yuanmen disciples, from today, have witnessed a miracle, the rise of a legend. He's mine. Feng Buping almost forced out these 4 words from between his teeth. Han Yang resonated with the ancient war blood, and the sword struck by the ancient heroic spirit vaguely allowed him to see a bit of Chen Yu's shadow, the same domineering, the same invincible, the same annoying. This kind of monster must be held in one's own hands. Feng Buping has made up his mind and must take Han Yang under his sect. Feeling the ferocious aura exuding from Feng Buping's body, Su Xiren also sighed secretly in his heart. He also thought that Chen Yu had really become Feng Buping's inner demon, and actually attracted Feng Buping, a powerful qi gatherer, to anger Han Yang, the son-in-law of the Chen family. But now Han Yang ranks first in the artistic conception of martial arts, and he must be in the top 50 in the overall ranking of the heaven ranking. If Feng Buping is not able to influence Han Yang's life or death, Zheng. At this moment, the sound of a knife exploded in front of the mountain gate. Ha ha ha. I have made a breakthrough. I have reached the peak of my sword intent. An elder who was at the peak of his bone forging and who had been stuck in the sword's mine for 13 years actually burst into laughter as if he was crazy. Zheng. Almost immediately after, another peak bone forging elder broke through with his sword intent. Today, I observe that Imperial Envoy Han Yang's ancient heroic sword spirit has broken through the realm, and I should pay my respects to him. Han Yang, please accept my bow. Regardless of his status, the elder bowed deeply to Han Yang who was on the heavenly level. Zheng. Zheng. In front of the mountain gate, the sound of swords echoed everywhere. The sword's intention is a small success, and the breakthrough is to a great achievement of the sword's intention. The sword intent is greatly accomplished, breaking through to the peak of the sword intent. Almost all the swordsmen who watched the sword struck by Han Yang's ancient heroic spirit achieved breakthroughs in sword intent. On this day, watching Han Yang draw his sword, nearly 100 swordsmen from Yuanmen advanced. The sudden change left Su Xiren and Feng Buping speechless. Neither of them used swords, so they didn't have a deep understanding. They didn't expect that the sword struck by the ancient heroic spirit of Han Yang would actually cause such a change. I'm late. It hurts me. It hurts me. At this time, another big man with an open mind, a long knife on his waist, and a savage-like beard on his face stumbled to the foot of the stone monument at the mountain gate. Ugh! It will be a lifelong regret for me to miss such a stunning sword. The bearded man ignored everyone's looks and fell to the ground in a state of disbelief. He stared blankly at Han Yang's back on the stairs to the sky, secretly feeling sad. Do. His Majesty Du Hun. Many disciples rolled their tongues and saluted hurriedly. This unruly man was none other than Du Hun, one of the three great geniuses in the Yuanmen's golden year, who reached the 96th spot on the heavenly ranking. Du Hun, who was already a powerful qi gatherer and was regarded as the supreme elder, was now as devastated as if he were mourning his heir, and he didn't care about his image at all. Whoosh whoosh. Sounds of breaking through the air sounded one after another, and 5 more figures suddenly appeared above the mountain gate. Deputy Sect Leader Tian. Your Majesty Yuchi. Mrs. Fang. Mrs. Liu. Sir Tong, that without exception, these 5 people are all Yuan Sect's great energy gatherers, and they are all swordsmen with swords. Who is it? Who made that slash just now, which shocked the lifeless heart of this Deputy Sect Master? Deputy Sect Leader Tian, named Tian Ji, is ranked 31st on the heavenly ranking, and is the #1 swordsman of the Yuan Sect. His strength is still higher than that of Du Hun. Tian Ji, who used to be domineering and fierce, was now like a child who found a new toy, glancing towards the heavenly steps with burning eyes. Is that the boy? Han Yang was on the 67th level and was the leader. It was difficult not to attract their attention. Break! Tian Ji moved his finger forward and directly broke through the defensive formation of the heavenly stage. He penetrated the fog and saw Han Yang's true form. 18 years old, 3rd level bone forging, still gold bone, good qualifications, qualified to be the disciple of our sect leader. Tian Ji nodded with satisfaction, looking relieved. Deputy Sect Master, you can't do this. 100 years ago, you already accepted closed disciples, how can you make an exception now? Yes, this son has a fate with me. He should take up my mantle and become my disciple. Bah! Shameless! In the Yuan sect, no one can compare with this sect leader in terms of understanding the sword's intention. Therefore, this sect leader is qualified to be his master. Deputy Sect Leader Tian's words were like poking a hornet's nest. The other 4 princes all blushed and started arguing with him about his disciples. Su Xiren, on the other hand, was so shocked that he lost his voice for a long time. The 3rd level of bone forging. Before setting foot on the heavenly steps, Han Yang was obviously only at the 2nd level of bone forging. Did this kid break through the realm while ascending to the heavenly level? This is Chapter 48 3 Tests to Shock the Yuan Sect. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Bone forging is a process of reshaping the bones and reshaping the bones. Even if the genius is like Su Xiren, after polishing it to perfection, he will find a secluded place to concentrate on breakthroughs without being disturbed. I am afraid of being disturbed by the environment and causing undue flaws, but what about Han Yang, who actually made a breakthrough in front of the public when he climbed to the heaven level? This state of mind, this courage, made Su Xiren unable to say whether he was confident or reckless. Moreover, it seems that how long has it been since Han Yang broke through to the 2nd level of bone forging? 3 days? 5 days? In just a few days, 2 consecutive bone forgings were equivalent to hammer forging 3 bones. This qualification is probably no less impressive than Li Xuanyu, who once made a sensation in the bone forging test, but unfortunately, Han Yang was only ranked 100th. What secret does this kid hide? Su Xiren's expression changed uncertainly, but in the end he did not make any announcement about Han Yang's breakthrough to the 3rd level of bone forging on the heavenly step. At this time, Han Yang was standing on the 67th step, with a strange expression on his face, entering the last of the 3 trials to ascend to the sky. What appeared was the shadow of a warrior holding a sword in one hand. I, Yen Tie, forged my bones at the age of 17 and gathered my qi at the age of 25. I am known as a peerless talent. Unfortunately, martial arts is difficult. I have only been able to gather my qi throughout my life. It is difficult to hope for the Yuandan Avenue. It is a pity. Today, on the steps to the heaven, I am left with a sword that regrets the heaven. I hope that with this sword, people in the future can use this sword to cut off the Yuan Dan, break the imprisonment, and relieve my lifelong regret. The old voice, like weeping, reached Han Yang's mind. 3 attempts to ascend to heaven. The first test, the bone-forging test, tests a person's core bones. The second test, the artistic conception test, examines a person's talent in martial arts. The third form, the martial arts test, tests a person's understanding of martial arts techniques. The mystery of climbing to the heavenly level amazed Han Yang, however. This Xianxia's tone is really loud. The gap between Qi gathering realm and Yuan Dan realm can be described as a world of difference. The so-called regretful sword left by this person actually thinks it can reverse Yuan Dan. Cut. Just when Han Yang felt a little enlightened, the dreamy shadow had been chopped out with one stroke. This sword seems to be slow in demonstration and as heavy as a mountain, but it gives people the feeling of being sharp and capable of cutting everything. As expected, that's all. Han Yang was born with a Taoist body in his previous life, and there was no bottleneck in practicing any martial arts technique. I have seen so many magical skills and secret techniques. In his opinion, Xianxia's self-proclaimed sword was as childish and ridiculous as a baby throwing a fist. The power is not even as powerful as the 4 symbols cursed seal knife. Talking about martial arts skills in front of the god of war in the divine world is a very ridiculous thing in itself. 3 trials of ascending to the heavenly level, bone forging and artistic conception. I have gained a lot. This trial of martial arts, Han Yang casually waved his hand and slashed out with his sword. The power and mystery displayed are even greater than those of the heaven-hanging sword. Han Yang is a swordsman. In the martial arts test, what he will encounter will be Xianxia's devastating sword, right? Tianji muttered to himself as if something suddenly sounded. The other 4 people's eyes also lit up. The regretful sword is the culmination of Xianxia's lifelong swordsmanship. Although it may not be able to kill Yuan Dan in reverse as he said, it shouldn't be difficult to kill Yuan Dan by leapfrogging and gathering qi. That's right, I have been practicing the heaven-hanging sword for 50 years, and I have only gained about 78% of it. I wonder how much Han Yang can comprehend. Difficult. 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 Xianxia's lifelong regret is contained in the regretful sword. It is difficult to understand the secret of this sword without the huge regret of being trapped in gathering energy for hundreds of years. Han Yang is probably not able to understand it at his age. The regretful sword is extremely famous in Yuanmen, because this sword is almost the strongest sword technique in the Qi gathering realm. Xianxia has been trapped at the peak of Qi gathering for 100 years, and has been unable to form the Yuan Dan. The regret in his heart can be said to be deep in his bones. This stance is almost to the level of wielding a sword with emotion. Among the swordsmen of Yuanmen, only the deputy sect leader Tianji has the deepest understanding of the sword of the sky. Other Qi gathering powers are slightly inferior, so at this time, no one thought that Han Yang could do anything unexpected in the martial arts test. Han Yang. He is still too young and does not know the difficulty of martial arts. Just when Tianji and other Yuanmen swordsmen were feeling emotional, the sound of morning bells and evening drums sounded, once again. Han Yang, 18 years old, with golden bones, peak sword intent, one method can overcome all methods. He is famous on the list, he has reached the top of the list, and he is number 98 on the overall list. The sound of discussion, sound of regret, sound of emotion. At this moment, it completely stopped. In front of the mountain gate, there was a deathly silence, including Deputy Sect Leader Tianji, Deputy Sect Leader Feng Buping. All the elders at the supreme level stared blankly at the names on the stone archway, unable to regain their consciousness for a long time. The overall list, 98. After Li Xuanyu, our Yuan sect actually gave birth to another outstanding talent. This Han Yang. On the stone archway, Han Yang's name was impressively ranked behind Li Xuanyu, ranking 6th on the heavenly list, but what surprised Tianji and others was that they ranked 98th on the overall list. Yuanmen is just a branch sect of Yuanzong. The overall ranking of the climbing heaven ranking is the overall ranking of the geniuses of the 18 branches of Yuanzong. In the 1,000 years since the Yuanmen was founded, there are only 5 disciples in the top 100. The last person is the amazingly talented Li Xuanyu. but now, there is another person, Han Yang. The guy who only ranked last in the bone forging test, actually soared to the 98th place on the overall list with his results in the last 2 tests. Look, Han Yang, he's already on the platform. Not only then did everyone realize that at some point, Han Yang had already crossed the 33 steps of the martial arts test, stepped on the steps to ascend to heaven, and climbed to the disembarkation platform. Everyone gasped, this guy actually understood the regretful sword in an instant. How can this be? Mine, Tianji, one of the 4 deputy sect masters and the #1 swordsman of Yuan sect, was so excited that his whole body was shaking. As a top swordsman, this is an incredible thing, which shows how excited he is. I announce that Han Yang is my disciple, Tianji, and I will risk my life for anyone who dares to come with me to rob him. Tianji drew his sword in his hand and looked around, as if he was ready to fight with others. But the other 4 swordsmen, the supreme swordsman, can't care about this. Bah! I don't want to practice. Do you think you are the only one who will risk your life? I have accepted this disciple Han Yang. The surnames Han and Tong both come from the ancient Ji family. Han Yang and I were of the same family 5,000 years ago, so he should be my disciple. My great-grandmother is the legitimate daughter of Xianxia. Han Yang is destined to be my disciple because of his fate with the sword of the sky. Fart, it was obviously me who came first. 1 Deputy sect leader and 4 chi gathering powers were like children who encountered a toy, making jokes and doing whatever they could to win over Han Yang. Deng Tianji's evaluation of Han Yang's ability to master all methods means that Han Yang's talent in the art of swordsmanship has shocked the past and the present, and he will definitely become a master of swordsmanship in the future. It would be a lifelong regret if he did not accept this kind of genius as a swordsman as his disciple. The 5 people were at war with each other, and the terrifying aura of powerful chi gathering suppressed the poor bone-forging realm disciples around them. Han Yang, the Chen family's ancestral son-in-law, surprised the Yuanmen with 3 attempts today. Chapter 49 Disciples. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Not to mention these powerful chi-gathering swordsmen, even Su Xiren, who had previously been most optimistic about Han Yang, looked at the figure in white on the disarmament platform in shock. 1 step leads to artistic conception, 1 step leads to martial arts. The talent displayed by Han Yang made Su Xiren's scalp numb. Moreover, this guy's basic skills are far from as bad as others think. In less than a month, he went from the 9th level of body tempering to the 3rd level of bone forging. This talent is probably not even comparable to that of Li Xuanyu. Su Xiren could no longer see through Han Yang's depth. Now, he only knows one thing: with his status and even talent, he is not qualified to accept Han Yang as his disciple. Even ordinary chi-gathering experts are not qualified to be Han Yang's master. Just look at these elders who are blushing and thick-necked as they compete for Han Yang. Feng Buping. Su Xiren suddenly found that Feng Buping, the deputy sect leader who was the first to come to watch the ceremony and wanted to accept Han Yang as his disciple and wanted to take revenge on Xinyu from Han Yang, seemed very funny at this time. At this time, if Feng Buping dared to say that he would accept Han Yang as his disciple, he would probably be hacked to death by 5 swordsmen headed by Tianji. From the moment Han Yang ranked 6th on the heavenly ranking and 98th on the overall ranking, his destiny was firmly in his own hands. No one in the Yuan sect who can gather energy, not even the deputy sect leader, can influence Han Yang's fate. Talented people will surely compete with the rising sun. All the Yuanmen could do was not to stand in the way of Han Yang. There was blood dripping from Feng Buping's palm, and his face was twisted like a monster. What a Xinyu, what a Han Yang, that with a snap of his robe sleeves, he drove the goshawk and flew away angrily. The poor goshawk was also affected by his murderous intention, and kept whining, very shrill. 2 hours later, the 3rd level of the martial arts competition is over. The 7 geniuses of this year all stood in the Yuanmen hall with different expressions. Han Yang was calm and composed, while the other 6 people were more or less at a loss. Yan Pianqing, ranked 89 on the heaven ranking, has good foundation, artistic conception, and martial arts understanding. She should have been the proud daughter of the new generation of Yuanmen after Li Xuanyu. Zhang Wuyo, ranked 93 on the heaven ranking, has accumulated a lot of experience and become a blockbuster. even if Yan Piao is in front of her, she can't conceal Zhang Wuyo's extraordinary talent in martial arts comprehension. These two people were supposed to be the most dazzling talents of this generation, but their light was blocked by the same person, Han Yang. 1 month ago, he was just the son-in-law of the Chen family, with no name. 1 month later, he was ranked 6th on the heavenly ranking and 98th on the overall ranking. He became famous in the Yuan sect, and his popularity was not weaker than that of Li Xuanyu, the wine and sword immortal of that year. The other 6 geniuses, including Yan Pianting, Zhang Wuyo, and Jiang Ziyu, did not expect Han Yang to be so strong. The wine sword immortal is almost equivalent to a legendary figure, but now, a super genius who could rival the Xianxia stood between them. This makes them inevitably have a feeling of being bright and beautiful. You talents. In the main hall, Su Ziren, as the chief examiner of the martial arts competition, said leisurely, "The martial arts competition has ended. 4 of the 7 of you, Han Yang, Yan Pianping, Zhang Wuyo, and Jiang Ziyu, have been qualified to be promoted to direct disciples. But among you, choose one of the supreme elders or deputy sect leaders to be the teacher." Yi Nantian, Yan Shan, and Shirlei all felt their heads buzzing. 7 people made it to the top, and 3 people failed. This made the 3 of them extremely uncomfortable. However, no one in the hall paid attention to the 3 frustrated people at this time. Everyone's eyes were focused on Han Yang. The 4 unique skills of the Yuan sect are swords, spears, knives and whips. At this time, all the more than 10 Qi gathering masters in the hall wanted to take Han Yang under their sect. So what if the weapons are different? Han Yang was only 18 years old, so he could definitely switch to training in other weapons. Perhaps his talents in sword, spear, and whip would be better. Han Yang, I am the #1 swordsman in Yuanmen. Among all the Yuanmen, I am the only one who is most suitable to be your master. As soon as Su Ziren finished speaking, Tianji couldn't wait to speak. The remaining 4 Qi gathering realm swordsmen all had bruises on their noses and swollen faces, but they all looked ugly and said nothing. Obviously, before choosing a teacher, the 5 people had a heated discussion. The beard at the corner of Tianji's mouth was already raised, and he looked at Han Yang with a kind look. It would be no exaggeration to say that he looked at his own son with that look in his eyes. Just when Tianji thought he was sure of victory, a handsome-looking Confucian scholar in a long gown suddenly spoke slowly. Han Yang, if you are willing to join my sect, I can arrange for you to have more discussions with senior sister Xuanyu. Mean. The moment the Confucian scholar spoke, all the Qi gathering experts in the main hall almost cursed. This guy was so unscrupulous in order to steal his apprentice. He even used wine and swordsman Li Xuanyu as bait to seduce Han Yang with his beauty. Ahem. There was a sound of coughing in the hall, and each of the Qi gathering masters signaled Han Yang with their eyes not to fall into the opponent's beauty trap. It's a pity that they can only go so far, because they don't have a female disciple who is as beautiful as an immortal and can be called a legend. Li Xuanyu, the wine sword immortal, is well deserved to be the most popular among Yuanmen disciples. Even the master of the Yuan sect cannot compare with him. Looking at the envious looks in Zhang Wuyo and Jiang Ziyu's eyes, you can tell how enviable it is to be Li Xuanyu's junior brother. Senior brother Yuan. Xuanyu has been unable to break through for a long time. It's enough for you to work hard. It's better not to delay. Han Yang. That's right, you should take more care of Xuanyu. You all gathered your strength and energy, and immediately became united in the enemy's hatred and pushed the Confucian scholar back. Yuan. Could this be Li Yuan, one of the 3 golden sons of Yuan sect? Han Yang looked at Li Yuan, a Confucian scholar who looked more like a scholar than a swordsman, with a little surprise. Before his father-in-law Qinyu disappeared, he once said that among the Yuan sect, only Li Yuan could be regarded as a momentary talent, and the rest were mediocre and inactive people. Unexpectedly, Li Yuan, who was highly praised by Qinyu, would look like this. Han Yang, if you can worship me as your teacher, I can help you enter our superior sect, Yuan sect, within 3 years and become a core disciple of Yuan sect. At this moment, a slightly gloomy voice came from the hall again. Feng Buping. You've had enough. Tianji looked at Feng Buping coldly. Does this bastard think everyone is stupid? Who doesn't know that he wants to take Han Yang as his disciple in order to avenge Qin Yu's sword attack? Feng Buping didn't care about Tianji's gaze at all, and still looked at Han Yang with burning eyes. Ah! Just when Han Yang was about to speak, a chuckle came from outside the door. A middle-aged man in a brocade robe, with a smile on his face and narrowed eyes, making him look very friendly, walked into the hall. Stop arguing, Han Yang. I think he looks good, so just become my disciple. Chapter 50. Han Yang must not be allowed to grow up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Master. Meet the sect master. The moment they saw this middle-aged man, everyone in the hall stood up and saluted. The person who came was none other than Yuan, the leader of Yuanmen, compared with geniuses like Li Yuan, Chu Lan, Su Ziran, and Li Xuanyu in the Yuan sect. Yuan's reputation is not that great. His name is not even on the list of people ascending to heaven. However, this person overcame the 3 golden sons represented by Li Yuan and became the leader of the Yuan sect. Which shows how extraordinary this person is. Sit down. Sit down. I told you earlier. There's no need to be so polite. Yuan smiled and waved his hand, motioning for everyone to sit down. He also sat on the main seat and looked at Han Yang with a smile. 18 years old, 6th in the rankings, and 98 in the overall rankings, what a genius. Yuan was clearly smiling, but Han Yang felt an inexplicable chill. As the former god of war in the divine world, Han Yang was most sensitive to hidden malice. This was a life-saving method he learned on the battlefield, although he didn't know why. At this moment, Han Yang sensed that this kind-looking leader of the Yuan sect was clearly very malicious towards him. The malice that comes from deep within one's bones is something that most people cannot detect at all. You need to be more careful. As soon as Yuan came forward, Tianji and Feng Bai could only give up in anger no matter how dissatisfied they were. You can't fight with the owner of the door. Han Yang, it is your great honor that the sect master is willing to accept you as his disciple. Why don't you come forward and pay homage to the master? Seeing that Han Yang seemed to have no reaction, Su Ziran whispered a reminder from the side. This kid is extremely talented, and his genius appearance is the best among all the sects, but he looks a little dull. Han Yang was actually quite speechless. My performance seems to be too good. Originally, Han Yang was planning to make a splash and obtain the qualification to go to the Yenhua Valley ruins as soon as possible. However, he did not expect that his performance was too shocking. Even the master of the Yuan sect came forward to accept him as his disciple, not to mention that the leader of the He sect had malicious intentions towards him for some reason. Even if there was no malice, Han Yang would not become his disciple. He entered Yuanmen just to get the truth about going to Yenhua Valley to investigate the disappearance of his father-in-law Qin Yu. If you become the disciple of the sect master, you will put a layer of shackles on yourself, and the gain will outweigh the loss. If it were deputy sect leader Tianji or even Li Yuan, he might still consider it. Sect owner Yuan. Forget it. Thinking of this, he suddenly took out a token from his arms, held it in his hand and said, to be honest, I have a close relationship with Xianxia. Can we discuss the matter of apprenticeship after Xianxia returns to the sect? Seeing the token in Han Yang's hand, all the chi-gathering powers present, including Su Ziran, became weird. Boy Han, are you planning to take that girl Xuanyu as your disciple? Yuan squinted his eyes, and the smile on his face grew stronger. Li Yuan pinched his fingers out of control. Unfortunately, I just wanted to use Li Xuanyu to seduce Han Yang. Good guy, this. Turns out to be planning to take Li Xuanyu as his disciple. When it comes to cultivation, Li Xuanyu has perfected his bones, and giving Han Yang some guidance is more than enough, but, that girl is only 19 years old, and Han Yang is 18 years old. It would be a bit inappropriate for an 18-year-old boy to worship a 19-year-old girl as his teacher. He was about to come forward to persuade him, but Han Yang held his hands and said firmly, I have made up my mind, please forgive me, master. Jiang Ziyu secretly gave Han Yang a thumbs-up. Ox. So awesome. Others are still thinking about how to become the junior disciple of the Xianxia, and if they want to be close to the water, they will get the moon first. Is this brother Han going to get it right in one step and directly planning to become the master of the wine and sword immortal? What the hell, it's not even appropriate for the sect master to pass it on personally. Could it be that he came here for this female genius of the Yuan sect, intending to get the moon first and have a good relationship with her? Even Zhang Wuyo and others looked at Han Yang in surprise. When they gathered at Yanke Tower that day, Han Yang showed such domineering behavior. Today, he actually lowered his status and wanted to become a disciple of a 19-year-old girl. Even if Li Xuanyu is extremely talented, this choice is too unpredictable. Taking into account everyone's expressions, Han Yang couldn't help but laugh. He had never said that he wanted to take Li Xuanyu as his disciple. He only said that he would discuss it after Li Xuanyu returned to the sect. Apprenticeship is just your random thoughts. Who in this small world is qualified to be the master of Han Yang, the god of war? Haha. Since you have made up your mind, I won't stop you anymore, so you can do what you want. That he Wantong squinted his eyes, looked at Han Yang carefully, then stood up and walked away. It was obvious that he came specifically for Han Yang, and no one else, including the extremely talented Yan Pian Pian, could fall into his eyes. The 7 geniuses became apprentices, but because of Han Yang's unexpected choice, it became a little ridiculous, so much so that others seemed a little distracted when choosing their master. In the end, Yan Pianqing chose Mu Kanglan, who was one of the 3 golden sons. Together with Li Yuan, Jiang Ziyu chose a swordsman. Zhang Wuyo also unexpectedly chose Feng Buping, the deputy sect leader. The Yuanmen martial arts competition, destined to be a sensation, finally came to an end, but the sensation caused by the martial arts competition has only just begun. Taiching, Li family. What? That little brat Han Yang is actually ranked 6th on the heavenly ranking. Li Shushan's expression suddenly became extremely gloomy. For the Li family, it was a bolt from the blue. Li Xuanyu, the 5th ranked but heaven-level genius on the heaven ranking, has reached the peak of bone forging 3 years after starting the profession. In the future, he will definitely become a great master of qi gathering. Han Yang ranks 6th. Even if he is slightly behind Li Xuanyu, he will definitely become a peak bone forging master within 5 years. What will the Li family do then? 5 years. 5 years later, the Li family's #1 genius, Mad Tiger Li Ying, may not be able to reach the peak of bone forging. Thinking of the possible fate of the Li family after Han Yang's rise, Li Shushan felt chills all over his body. Click. The Wenwan walnuts in the hands of the Li family prince were crushed into powder again. Someone is coming. A figure appeared quietly in the hall. You, contact the 4 Seasons Tower immediately. We will assassinate Han Yang at any cost. Li Shushan said with cold eyes, if the 4 Seasons Tower can kill Han Yang within half a year, my Li family is willing to give out a spiritual weapon as a reward. The originally expressionless man in black couldn't help but change his expression when he heard about the spiritual weapon. The preciousness of spiritual weapons is beyond the imagination of ordinary people. The huge Yuan sect has nearly 20 people with qi gathering powers, but they only possess 5 or 6 spiritual weapons. The spiritual weapon promised by Li Shushan is the family treasure of the Li family. It was originally prepared for the crazy tiger Li Ying. Now it has to be taken out as a bounty for killing Han Yang, which shows Li Shushan's determination to kill Han Yang. As commanded. The man in black bowed, accepted the order and left. After the other party's back disappeared, Li Shushan, who had been silent for a long time, spoke again. Yaoer, go to Yuanmen and inform your 3rd uncle to find an opportunity to take action. Han Yang must be removed as soon as possible. This person must not let him grow. Li Yao, who had just finished reporting the information and picked up the teacup to quench his thirst, suddenly widened his eyes. The family actually wants Mad Tiger Li Ying to deal with Han Yang personally. You know, Li Ying is in the critical period of breaking through the late stage of bone forging. Even this Yuanmen martial arts election, no one dared to disturb him and let him out, but now, orders were sent to strangle Han Yang, regardless of delaying Li Ying's breakthrough. I don't know since when, this little person who was not taken seriously by the Li family and who even wanted to take his fiancée as a concubine has reached a point where the entire Li family has to deal with it with all their strength. Go quickly. Seeing that Li Yao was still in a daze, Li Shushan, who was in an irritable mood, snorted coldly and glared. Yes, I'll go right away. Li Yao quickly fled the hall, but he had already made up his mind that he would never be an enemy of Han Yang. today's Han Yang is already a carp that jumped over the dragon's gate. He is not someone who can continue to provoke a small person like him.